At the beginning of a Broadway show, the lights dim, the music plays, and the audience waits for the spotlight to hit the stage. When the main actor appears, the story begins. So it is with leadership. When you become a leader, the people wait for you to step into the spotlight on center stage. All eyes are fixed on you, waiting to see who you are, waiting to see what you will say and what you will do. After all, you are the leader. What if the spotlight appeared on that stage and you were not in it? What would happen then? The people would be confused. They would wonder where you were. They would think that you didn't understand your role until they realized that you are a different kind of leader. You're not seeking the spotlight. In fact, you've walked off the stage to find the light crew. You will shift the focus of the spotlight to the people you've been asked to lead. You will lead the people to daring destinations far beyond their imagination. You will focus intensely on serving them well along the journey. You will help them discover meaning in their work and principles in their actions. You will dare to serve. As I grew up, I learned many of my leadership lessons from my father, Daddy Max, as I called him. He served as Vice President of National Semiconductor Corporation for many years, overseeing manufacturing operations in Asia. My dad was a tall man, 6'4", with a deep, gruff voice. But underneath his rough exterior, he had a soft heart for people. What I remember most about him were his stories. Over dinner each evening, he would talk about his day at work. And at the end of every leadership lesson was a moral of the story, the principle that he wanted us to remember. One evening, my dad was pacing the kitchen floor, visibly upset. When I asked him what was bothering him, he told me that tomorrow he would be laying off people at the manufacturing plant. He told me he was sick over it. People he cared about would lose their jobs. Families would suffer. And as we observed his emotional face, we knew the moral of the story. Letting people go should make your stomach turn. Never take it lightly. When we are called to leadership, the people look to us to understand how we will lead. What are our principles? They don't spend much time reading the plaques on the wall. They spend their time looking at the actual actions that they see in a typical workday. Have you thought about your role in setting the principles that guide the work of your team? What principles will enable them to serve one another and the business well? What principles, when put into action, will lead to superior results? Some call this the culture of the organization, which is a good word for it, because culture means the way we think, behave, and work together to accomplish goals. Defining the principles of the culture and holding the team accountable to those principles is fundamentally the work and the responsibility of the leader. Done well, principles are the fuel for accelerating the team's performance. Without principles in action, the leader cannot expect superior results and, in fact, may risk disaster. The many ethical debacles in major corporations in the last 2 decades have increased my zeal for principled leadership. Enron Corporation claimed the 4 values of respect, integrity, communication, and excellence in their corporate documents and their plaques. But none of those principles were evident in the actions of the executives that brought that company to collapse. For principles to matter, they have to be in action, not on plaques. Principles come alive in daily conversations, decisions, and actions of the team. At Popeyes, we chose 6 principles to help us work together. Principles that guide our daily actions and support our stated purpose, which is to inspire servant leaders to achieve superior results. Our principles are: we are passionate about what we do. We listen carefully and learn continuously. We are fact-based and planful. We coach and develop our people. we are personally accountable, and we value humility. These principles are on plaques in most of our conference rooms, so they are readily in view. But more importantly, they give us the guidelines that we reference in our conversations and in our decisions. They give us the principles we want to hold each other accountable to. Like all organizations, we are imperfect. We don't always live up to our principles. It's a constant effort to teach these principles, to celebrate the people that live them well, and to hold accountable the people that forgot the principle. This is the daily work of leadership. While you're thinking about principled leadership, I challenge you to think about the impact of principles on the performance of your team. Do you think that a team with alignment on principles outperforms a team without clear principles? I have come to believe that a team with clarity of both purpose and principles outperforms the competition. Why? Because purpose and principles lead to consistency in the way work gets done. Over time, the team gets more and more effective at working together, and as they become more effective, the performance results typically improve. This has been our learning at Popeyes. Since we began living our purpose and our principles, our performance has steadily improved. Today, our company is outperforming competitors by a wide margin. There is no guarantee that that trend will continue, but the way we work has become a competitive advantage, and our results have been consistent and sustained over time, far less erratic than many companies in our business. I also think God is looking to bless teams that operate with clarity of purpose and principles. In the Bible, we see this time and time again. A leader that has no godly purpose and principles is often defeated. The leader that honors God's purpose and principles is often lifted up, kept safe, and given more responsibility. Over the past few months, I've been studying the book of Daniel in the Bible. Daniel was not the designated leader in King Nebuchadnezzar's reign. In fact, Daniel was a slave to the king, but he had immense impact on the kingdom because he was so true to his purpose and his principles. I admire Daniel's disciplined acts, his ability to avoid bad habits, his determination to live by the rules that God had given him. As a result of his commitment to God's principles, Daniel is now remembered as one of the remarkable leaders in the Bible. From Daniel chapter 1, verse 20, the text tells us the king was impressed in every matter of wisdom and understanding about which he questioned them. He found them 10 times better than all the magicians and enchanters in his whole kingdom. Imagine how pleased God was with Daniel for working with principles, and consider how God blessed Daniel for his decision to live his life this way.